Hello, I'm here with Anuz and Dipika in the podcast In the End of the Day. And my name is Anastassiya Maximenko, and I'm originally from Kazakhstan, and I came to United States almost 8 years ago. Right now, I'm working as admission counselor at City University of New York. And most of the time, I counsel immigrants and new arrived immigrants.
Anastassiya, thank you so much for your time.
Welcome.
So good to have you. I had to chase you for several months to get you, to get you a spot in the hot seat in my podcast. So if you are in New York City and if you are one of those who are trying to find information about how to enroll in an undergrad program in Cuny, I think this conversation today would be very beneficial to you. So Anastassiya, you are an admission counselor at Cuny. For those students, for those immigrants who are in New York City and are interested to enroll in an undergrad program, what kind of preparation do they have to do?
I definitely urge students come to our office, which is like Cuny Welcome Center located here on 217 East 42nd Street. And but before coming into our office, I can tell what documents they need to submit and so on. So basically, in general, we are dividing students into two groups: freshman students and transfer students. Freshmen are those who finished high school only, and now they want to enroll in the college.
When you say high school, that's 12 standard, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Or 11, depends on the year, on the country, right?
Okay.
Because even in my country, in Kazakhstan, we finish 11 years.
Oh.
But basically, once you know that, okay, this is high school diploma, or I have some transcript for high school diploma, and I didn't go anywhere else after that high school, secondary school, different terms, right? But means the same. So if the student knows, yes, I finished that and I never went to anywhere else, they're freshmen.
Okay.
All right. And then another group is transfer students, right? So basically, after the high school, they went to post-secondary degree, to university, college, any type of institution. I'm using all those words because basically for us, they mean all the same, right? For students, sometimes they're like, no, I didn't go to college, I went to university. But for us, it's basically the same thing, right? It's a group of post-secondary education. So for those students who went but didn't finish, for the students who went and were expelled because of bad grades or whatever the reason, or even for students who did finish bachelor's degree or maybe a specialist diploma, like there's so many different terms, depends on the country. For those students, they are transfer students, and that is why requirements are a little bit different. Like the student is, for us, it's kind of the same, but the documents they need to submit is different. So for freshmen, they just apply and just a copy of their high school diploma and they grades, sometimes for all 4 years or 3 years, or even, for instance, for our post-Soviet Union countries, we have diploma and all our grades are in that diploma, right? So basically, we just need a copy of that, and that's all. The student applies, submit those copies. Obviously, everything is, if something is not in English, needs to be translated. And that's all. The students then wait for a decision. But now if we go to a group of transfer students, right, they still need to provide a copy of that high school diploma for us to see that, yes, they completed high school. But now from their post-secondary degree, whether they didn't finish or they did finish, we need their official transcript. And for a lot of students, it's hard to understand what official transcript means because students complete, for instance, even complete their bachelor degrees, right, from Russia. And they receive that diploma and they also receive the list of all the classes and grades that they finish for 4 years. And it's usually, when they pretty paper and
Yeah.
signed and stamped, and they say, here we go, this is official because it has stamps and all the signatures, but for us it's original copy.
Right.
And we cannot take it. And even if we take it, we're never going to give it back to the student because it becomes the property of Cuny. So that is why the student needs to contact the university, college, any type of institution to request that official transcript. Meaning the university just saying that yes, the student received that diploma, or yes, student went for 2 years. And that's the list of classes they completed, and that's the list of grades. Colleges, universities, we work with all the countries, and they're all, like universities in those countries are able to provide that document.
How do you want those universities or colleges to provide those documents? Meaning by email, by mail, or what is that called when it is like properly sealed?
Yes.
So how exactly?
So it's all three methods are fine.
Okay.
Right now it's 2020, we're using emails a lot. So obviously if a university can email directly to us from their official email address that they usually post on their website, right? We will accept that copy because it comes in directly from them. If, for instance, universities say, hey, we're not going to send any emails, then they can mail it, right? But they seal it, they put everything inside the envelope, they stamp the envelope, then mail it to us. We don't really we don't really encourage that because again, post-mail, the documents get lost and so on. That is why sometimes we say that, hey, if you have a family that lives in the same city that the university is, just once they put everything in an envelope, just take it away. And then your family can mail it directly to you, so that physically you know that you have received it, and then they bring that to us. So in that case, right? So it still comes from the university, right? They still put everything in an envelope, they stamp that envelope, and now it's official copy, right? But it's just coming through a different,
More
different
reliable
routes.
source.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
One question. I know you did mention diploma and the transcript. I have a couple of friends who also, who are like confused about what a diploma is and what a transcript is.
Yes.
So how are they different? What do you mean when you say diploma, and what do you mean when you say transcript?
So diploma is just a
A certificate?
a certificate, or just this beautiful paper which you get when you graduate, right?
Which doesn't have any marks at all, right? No grades.
No grades at
Yeah,
all,
yeah,
right?
that's what
It says
Says that you
Have been graduated.
have
graduated
Yeah.
Okay.
in that year, and sometimes college say, and you received a bachelor of commerce, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Or sometimes for instance, post-Soviet countries, they say you're a specialist, you're economist, and so on, this is diploma, right?
Okay.
But the transcript, it's additional paper that actually lists all those classes and all the grades that you received during those 4, 5, 3 years and so on. So that is why sometimes students do not finish and they get only that transcript that's saying, hey, you don't have any diploma. And it's sometimes on the transcript it says the student has been expelled and whatever reason it is. But again, it's just a list of those classes and those grades. That's what we call transcript.
Okay.
And you need both.
We need both if student
Had
finished.
And Anastassiya, you haven't mentioned about TOEFL for students. So is that a mandatory requirement for students who apply for undergrad studies to have TOEFL?
For undergraduate studies, which is associate bachelor degrees, right? To make it easier to understand, students. We ask for TOEFL from international students, right, who are here on F1 visa. And most of the time, the students who do have green card or US citizenship or granted asylum or refugee status, we're not asking them for TOEFL.
Okay.
Why? Because basically the university have very strong English preparation courses.
Okay.
And because we know that you're now a resident, come to us, right? We're gonna admit you on the basis of your transcript, but if you don't pass English test, we will provide you with the courses to
Okay.
prepare you for the college coursework. So that is why for students who have those green card, everything that is granted, they don't have to provide TOEFL.
Oh, that is so interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Because there is a fear in so many of us that, okay, I don't speak good English. I want to study an undergrad program, but I don't know how to speak good English. So there is this fear. And based on what you just said, I think what you just said is really encouraging. It's really interesting to know that the university provides good English classes during the undergraduate program itself.
Yes. So university is, it's in the mission of university to provide education to everyone, right? Regardless their proficiency in English or regardless anything, right? We accept everyone. So that is why, like, once, students, for instance, feel uncomfortable with English, we say, hey, don't worry, we got you, right? We have some courses, we have programs, very strong programs for English. That is why, in our office, we have very diverse, population of admission counselors who speak different languages. For me, obviously, I speak Russian, so sometimes students come and they speak only Russian. And I say, okay, I explain them everything, we do application, they get accepted, and then they go through this program of, English preparation. So, and afterwards, they obviously able to continue their education in undergraduate studies.
How about undocumented immigrants who wants to study at Cuny?
Again, we accept everyone regardless their immigration status, and it's good that you asked, and it's amazing how supportive the university is of those students, right? And basically, even if they don't have any documents, we will take them regardless, right? Yeah.
That's interesting. When has this come into floor? Like this decision of accepting undocumented students at Cuny?
It's been actually always the case,
really?
and it's sad because you see right now the public doesn't know that information.
Yeah.
And I know the students who wait until their cases will be approved because, right now I don't have any status, so I'm not able to apply, which is absolutely not true. We take whether you have the, status, whether you're U.S. citizen or whether you're in pending status, whether you don't have any documents, we will take you. We'll definitely accept you. Yeah.
Oh.
Because the only thing that we're looking at what you did in high school, what you did in your previous education. That's all we look at. And yeah.
Interesting. And Anastassiya, in the start of the conversation, you mentioned that you urge students to come to your office, right, for consultation. But how do they make appointment to come to your office?
It's actually walk-ins. So
Okay.
basically, at any time from Monday to Thursday, we're open at different times. You can check it on our website.
Which is the website?
Cuny.edu. Yeah, and so we meet walk-ins. Sometimes students, because they need specific language, they may contact me directly to me and ask, hey, I need to come to this at that time, but we're open for walk-ins.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And definitely, I just want to mention that I hope you include my information so that the student can contact me at any time, right?
Okay, how do they contact you?
By email. So my email is Anastassiya.Maximenko at cuny.edu.
Yeah, and just to reconfirm, and you are based in the Cuny Welcome Center.
Cuny Welcome Center. So basically, Cuny is a system of 25 different colleges that are located in all 5 boroughs. And, that's the thing, because colleges, they cannot accept the student with the international credential right away, so they have to come through our office. And we are central admission office, and on the base of that office, we have Cuny Welcome Center, where we actually, get the students walk-ins, consultations, and so on.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is really interesting.
Yeah, this is interesting.
Anastassiya, of all the professions in the world, why did you choose to be an admissions counselor at Cuny?
So basically, I actually was a customer at Cuny Welcome Center, right? My situation, right? I'm from Kazakhstan. I finished high school there. I went to university for 3 years and I didn't finish. So when I came here, so I started to think, how can I continue my education? And definitely I went to Cuny for a consultation in the same office. And my first consultation went very rough. Unfortunately, it was very difficult, and counselor wasn't so supportive. So, but then after a couple of years, I came back again, and I actually received very amazing, consultation with this counselor, who just encouraged me to apply and, to continue my education. And thanks to her, I finished Hunter College here. I studied sociology, and I was able to transfer all my classes from Kazakhstan.
Wow.
Right.
Yes. And basically, it's interesting. I am in Japan on my study abroad program. And I woke up one day and I said, I want to be a counselor at Cuny Welcome Center. Because now, like, I'm an immigrant, and I went through all this struggle of receiving the education, because the higher education system is so different and so confusing. That is why right now my personal mission is just provide that information to all the immigrant students so that they don't go through the same struggle, right? So I have the standard of this person that I met, and the consultation went so good, so I want be on the same level. And I just remember in the back of my mind the bad experience that I have, and I know that I don't want any of the students go through that bad experience.
And as now we have come to the end of the podcast. If you have to advise, any advice which hasn't come out till now in this conversation, what advice do you want to give out to our audience who wants to pursue undergrad studies at Cuny?
All those students that already finished their undergraduate degree in their country, I want them to ask a question: why do they need another undergraduate degree? Because in my office, I meet a lot of students who have degrees already, and now they want to apply for a degree here in the United States, thinking that American education will give them a better chance to find a job, or they think that their education from their country is not valid. Both of those points are absolutely not true, and I just want all the students to know that their education and or experience from their country is valid. And definitely, if they really want to get education here, I would suggest them to go higher. Master's degrees, maybe even PhDs, right? But not, taking step back and getting associate degrees and the same bachelor degree that they already have. And definitely, we in New York City, the city of immigrants, we have a lot of organizations that can support those students with those degrees to actually get into American workforce, right? And we know some of them New Women, New Yorkers work with immigrants, immigrant women. Upwardly Global, Streetwide Partners, those organizations are just taking the education that students already have and maybe even experience from their country and just trying to help them to get a job in the industry that they're interested at. But definitely, if a student, for instance, want to switch completely, they were accountants in their country, now they want to be nurses. Obviously, yes, they can come to our office and we can support them and guide them through this process. Yeah.
Maybe this could be a different episode on its own, but just to touch briefly, if someone has finished their 3 years bachelor's degree back home and now want to do a master's program in Cuny, do you think they can? Because they don't have a 4 years bachelor's degree.
All right, very, very, very tricky, because when we as an office evaluate those students, we don't say that they have a bachelor degree, right? We say that they have 3 years of undergraduate studies, and then they have to finish their undergraduate degree here at Cuny. But it happens a lot of time that if a student just go to evaluation service, like a work evaluation service, WES sometimes tells them, yes, you have actually a bachelor degree in the United States. Sometimes it happens from Nepal and Bangladesh when they go for 3 years with honors, the first division that they get. Sometimes it just translates into a 4-year degree here in the United States. And some of the European country, African, French, they also do like 3+2 bachelor and then masters. So it's very tricky because you see all the countries in the system in the United States, it's so different. That is why when they come in, different evaluation services do different job. Yeah. They evaluate differently. So that is why sometimes students will go through WES, they get the paper that says you have a bachelor degree in the United States, and then they're able to continue right away to a master's degree or even try to find a job here. So it's very, very tricky. Sometimes I suggest them to do evaluation first, and then if it's not enough, then come back to us.
Okay, that's very clear. Yeah, thank you so much, Anastassiya, for your time. I really appreciate this conversation, and I strongly believe that our audience will find this conversation really helpful.
Hopefully.
And yeah, thank you so much. And we'd like to thank English Speaking Union, who has provided this space to record our podcast.
Definitely get in touch with English Speaking Union, ESU, ARNIC, because they provide free English language classes and professional skill development classes to new immigrants.
And yeah, at the end of the day, please subscribe to our podcast at the end of the day on YouTube, Spotify, iTunes, whichever platform you follow. And do log into podcast at theendoftheday.com to watch and listen to our previous episodes.
Yes, on that note, it's time to say bye-bye. Take care.
Bye.
Hey guys, a quick note. If you have a personal story that you think might be helpful to the newly arriving immigrants in the US, please contact us. We would love to feature you in our podcast. Go to our website, podcast@theendoftheday.com, and write to us by going to the feedback section.
And by the way, if you love this podcast, you can support us with a small donation. Your help will enable us to continue producing more episodes. The link to support our podcast is in the description below.